And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't like answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February.
So we're stupid.
Yeah.
We're the idiots, guys. Just to let you know,
I mean,
we're
look
wasting
at
time.
us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
That is, like, in all seriousness, that is, I think, what is enraging people right now is it's insulting our intelligence. Like, obviously, the intelligence community is trying to cover it up. Obviously, the Trump administration is trying to cover up. Something changed because they ran on this idea of exposing it all.
Yep.
Remember when comedian and podcaster Andrew Schulz changed his tune on the Trump administration less than a year after hosting the traitor himself on his own podcast during the 2024 campaign, as well as this response from fellow comedian Gianmarco Ceresi?
You're telling me that all these comedian podcasters who make Epstein jokes, I make Epstein jokes, and you were sitting across the guy who's been in multiple pictures at different times of his life with Epstein, and you didn't even mention it?
Yeah.
You didn't mention it? They don't even seem to explain why. Why was Trump hanging out with him? They don't even go like, well, they were friends. They had good conversation. They just, as if it wasn't there.
It would be funny if they put out a press release. Why was Trump? And you're like, they were friends. They had really good conversations about arts and culture and growing up in New York. And
some people went to Epstein's Island for the cornhole, you know?
Well, it appears, thankfully, that Schulz has yet another change of heart, especially around Trump's brutal, violent, horrible, immoral crackdown on anyone suspected of being an undocumented immigrant, and everyone willing to help those being targeted. Take a look at this.
They're doing things that objectively, I don't care which side of the aisle you're on, objectively are unconstitutional. So no matter which side of the aisle you're on, you would like to uphold the Constitution a little bit, right? Like, you can't enter someone's home without a warrant, and not some like federal administrative warrant that they're trying to like skirt around it.
Yeah.
You cannot enter someone's home without an actual warrant. And anybody who wants to criticize us for platforming, 100%, that is fair, 100%. But that doesn't mean you just stay quiet. Like, if you see something that you look at and you're like, I don't think this is America that I want to live in, and which is the sentiment of everybody right now. There are a few like ideologues in the internet that are trying to defend this. I'm sure you guys have seen.
Yeah.
But I think the majority of Americans are looking at this and they're going, this is not a country that we believe that we are. And we can't continue to support stuff like this. And I think it's important to talk about it. He's like, we're going after the criminals. And maybe I naively believe that he would do that. But it's very clear, like just by the numbers, that that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
And they're using this of like, we want to make sure you guys are safe and secure. How is this more safe?
Will say that this was a breaking point for me in the way that the administration responded to it. Like, I didn't think what's happening right now with ICE could happen in America. I genuinely did not think that was possible. I thought our institution, I thought the Constitution would hold up. When I see it and then immediately defend it, I start to go, we gotta be very loud about this. Like, it all of a sudden becomes not like liberal catastrophic thinking. It starts to become very reasonable, nuanced criticism of the administration. They have just made the most far left critiques of the Trump administration. Their reaction to this has just justified all of them. In one moment, all of their responses from Trump to Kash Patel, they have justified every single and I know people will probably look at this and be like, they've done a million other things to justify them. Sure, and that's fair. But this specific situation, I think, is a breaking point and has justified all those criticisms. I think people's antennas are way up, and people's antennas that were not up initially.
This is like seeing the Epstein files. Because it's like,
wouldn't it be nice if we got those?
It's like, damn, y'all really been lying to us. Like, damn.
Look, obviously you'd hope that people would realize after 4 years of a person who was trying to dismantle a lot of what our country holds dear, that it would be clear this person was not someone who could ever be trusted. You would hope that it would be obvious when someone tries to steal an election, when somebody tries to overturn a free and fair election, and when someone pardons those who beat law enforcement just because they are on his side. And then when people people peacefully protest against law enforcement, against his side, he and his administration justify killing those Americans. You'd hope that that was seen ahead of time, but I'll take this. It's better than nothing. I believe Andrew's a really good guy. I know him a little bit, and I think his heart's in the right place. And I'm very happy to see him forcefully, strongly, and morally speaking out for what's right and for what's wrong, and taking a stand and encouraging others to do the same thing. We have law enforcement being weaponized against American citizens. We cannot stand for that. It is not okay. Also largely over completely made up things like immigrants are voting, which is not true in any sort of real number. So that's the risk and the reality of alternative media becoming influential in presidential politics, in mainstream politics, in future campaigns. There's no going back. And to some degree, the old guard has been very detrimental as well by not allowing in other voices, by not allowing in other thoughts, other ways of thinking. And so it's good to have other voices, but a certain responsibility does come with those other voices to, maybe disqualify certain people once they, incite insurrections and are therefore disloyal to the country because they are valuing their own self more than the goodwill of the nation, stuff like that. Having some hard lines in the sand would be good. And if you are going to interview somebody, to be aggressive and to hold them to account strongly. But Schulz, to his credit, in that interview during even the 2024 election, did stand up to Trump a couple of times, which was good. So let's just hope that we find more of a backbone, more of a moral stronghold to be able to stand up against just the erosion of our morals and our values and what we are as a nation just because people want to come on our shows. Discussion's good. Speaking all sides is important, but just because one person's nicer to you than the other doesn't mean that you need to endorse it. I'm Ben Gleib for Rebel HQ. You can follow me at Ben Gleib on Instagram and come to my show in Austin, Texas this Friday night at the Vulcan Gas Company. Tickets are at my link in bio at Ben Gleib on Instagram, 7 p.m. Friday, February 6th. Thanks.